Hey, everybody, and welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be tackling a pretty big topic today.
Yeah.
And that is achieving greatness. And we've got kind of an interesting mix of sources, I think, for this one.
Yeah?
We've got some motivational excerpts that are all about kind of like maximizing your potential.
Right.
And then we are going to be diving into Lewis Howes's book, The School of Greatness, where he shares his own journey and interviews with a whole bunch of super successful people.
It's a really cool mix, and I think what we're going to try to do is pull out,
Yeah.
the most actionable advice for you from all this material.
Exactly. So, let's just start with the most basic question.
Okay.
What does greatness even mean? I think it's easy to think of it as like those big splashy achievements, right? Like becoming a famous athlete or, making millions.
Right.
But Howes actually kind of challenges that right from the start.
Yeah, he uses his own story to illustrate this.
Okay.
He actually achieved his childhood dream not once but twice, becoming an All-American athlete.
Wow.
You'd think that would be the peak of greatness, right?
I would think so, yeah.
But he talks about how even after reaching that goal, he kind of felt empty.
Really?
Even miserable.
Wow.
And it was only after a career-ending injury forced him to reevaluate everything
Wow.
that he realized that he'd been chasing the wrong thing.
Okay.
He was so focused on hitting those external markers of success that he lost sight of what really mattered, finding his purpose.
So it sounds like true greatness, according to Howes, isn't just about checking off achievements. It's about something deeper. It's about aligning your actions with your purpose.
Exactly. And he shares a great story
Okay.
about Angel Martinez, who was a footwear industry legend.
Okay.
He was actually a founding member of Reebok.
Wow.
And he later became the CEO of Deckers Brands.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, Martinez was obsessed with Converse shoes as a kid.
Interesting.
They represented for him the sense of belonging, like being in with the crowd.
Oh, so something as simple as a pair of shoes, like...
Yeah. Sparked this lifelong passion that shaped his entire career.
Yeah, and it really highlights how powerful it can be to have a clear vision.
Okay.
To know not just what you want, but why it matters to you.
Okay, so we need a vision, but then how do we actually define that?
Right.
It's easy to have vague ideas about what we want.
Yeah.
But how do we turn that into a concrete plan?
Well, one of the key things Howes emphasizes is the importance of writing down your goals.
Okay.
And not just writing them down, but making them super specific.
Okay.
He even uses the phrase, annoyingly, step by step.
I love that. So it's not enough to say, I want to be successful. You have to define what success actually looks like for you.
Yeah.
And then break that down into smaller,
Exactly.
actionable steps.
Exactly. He tells a story about a friend named Steve.
Okay.
Who initially described his dream as becoming a physical therapist. But when Howes dug a little deeper, he realized that Steve's true vision was much more nuanced.
Okay.
He wanted a beachside practice, flexible hours so he could spend time with his family.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And a work environment that felt more like a calling than a job.
That's a great example of how our initial goals might not always reflect our true desires. Sometimes we need to dig a little deeper to uncover that underlying why that's driving us.
Absolutely. And to help with that, Howes has some really interesting exercises.
Oh, okay.
One of them is the perfect day itinerary,
Okay.
where you essentially map out your ideal day, both in terms of the overall feeling you want to cultivate
Okay.
and the specific activities you would be doing.
So if my perfect day involves feeling calm, energized, and creative, I would actually schedule in activities that support those feelings.
Exactly.
Like maybe a morning meditation, some time in nature,
Yeah.
and then a block dedicated to working on a creative project or something.
Exactly. It's a way to connect your vision to your daily life.
I love
To
it.
see how those big aspirations translate into concrete actions.
Yeah, and he has another exercise called the Personal Principles Declaration, right?
Yes, this is where you define 5 core principles. Okay.
That you want to live by, especially when things get tough. It's like creating an internal compass to guide your decisions and actions.
Okay, so let's say we have our vision. We've got our goals written down. We've even defined our core principles. But what happens when things don't go according to plan? How do we handle the inevitable curveballs that life throws our way?
Well, this is where Howes's perspective on adversity gets really interesting.
Okay.
He argues that adversity isn't something to be avoided.
Okay.
It's actually an opportunity for growth.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How does he make that case?
Well, he shares some truly inspiring stories.
Okay.
Like the one about Kyle Maynard, who is a champion athlete who was born with a congenital disability.
Wow.
And,
Powerful.
yeah, instead of seeing his disability as a limitation, he sees it as a challenge to overcome.
Right.
He's constantly pushing his boundaries, achieving things that most people would consider impossible,
Wow.
like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh my gosh. So it's not about pretending that adversity doesn't exist. It's about changing the way we relate to it.
Yeah.
Seeing it as a potential stepping stone on the path to greatness.
Right, and to help us navigate those challenges.
Yeah.
Howes offers a 5-step process:
Okay.
awareness, acceptance, acknowledgement, gratitude, and action.
I love that he includes gratitude in there. It's so easy to get caught up in the negative
Right.
when we're facing adversity. But taking a moment to appreciate what we do have can be a real game changer.
It's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that even in the midst of difficult times, there are things to be thankful for. And then, of course, comes action.
Right.
It's about channeling that gratitude into positive steps forward.
Yeah.
Taking action
Okay.
often requires a good dose of hustle.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to talk about next.
Awesome. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Taking action often requires a good dose of hustle.
Right. And Howes talks a lot about hustle, that relentless energy and drive. Yeah.
To turn your vision into reality. He even dedicates a whole chapter to it.
Okay.
And he starts off with a story about his own brother, Chris Howes, a successful jazz musician.
Oh, I love when authors bring in personal stories like that.
Yeah.
What was Chris's story?
So Chris's journey is incredible. He actually spent years in prison.
Wow.
And during that time, he completely rededicated himself to music.
Okay.
And when he got out, he was laser focused on turning his passion into a career.
That takes serious dedication.
Yeah,
But I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing from there.
not at all.
Okay.
Chris didn't just wait for opportunities to come to him, he created them.
Okay.
He hustled, playing gigs, promoting his music, connecting with people,
Yeah.
doing whatever it took to make his dream happen.
So it's not just about having the talent or the passion. It's about being willing to put in the work
Yeah,
to go the extra mile.
exactly. And Howes connects this back to his own experience after his injury. He was feeling lost and directionless, but seeing his brother's hustle inspired him to take action.
What did he do?
He started networking like crazy on LinkedIn,
Okay.
reaching out to people in the sports business. He organized events, built relationships,
Wow.
basically hustled his way into a whole new career path.
So for both Howes and his brother, hustle was the key ingredient that turned their setbacks into opportunities.
That's right. And he makes a point of saying that everyone has the capacity to hustle, but often what holds us back is fear.
Yeah.
Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment.
Right.
It can be paralyzing.
I think we've all experienced that at some point. So what's the antidote? How do we overcome that fear and tap into our inner hustler?
Howes suggests an interesting exercise.
Yep.
What if scenarios.
Okay.
You write down your fears and then you reframe them,
Okay.
focusing on the positive potential outcomes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So instead of dwelling on what could go wrong, you're forcing yourself to consider what could go right.
Exactly. It's a way to shift your mindset from fear to faith, from focusing on what you want to avoid to what you want to create.
Okay. So we've talked about the importance of vision, the power of adversity, and the necessity of hustle. But there's another piece of the puzzle that's absolutely essential, taking care of our physical health.
You're absolutely right. Howes dedicates a whole chapter to this,
Okay.
calling it Mastering Your Body.
Okay.
He argues that our physical health is the foundation for everything else.
It makes sense. If you're not feeling your best physically, it's going to be tough to show up fully in any area of your life.
Exactly. He opens with a story about Rich Roll,
Right.
who's an ultra-endurance athlete who completely transformed his life at age 40.
Oh, wow.
He was overweight, overworked, and unhappy, but he made a decision to prioritize his health.
Okay.
And the results were amazing.
So even if you haven't been taking care of yourself, it's never too late to make a change.
That's right. Rich Roll lost weight, got in amazing shape, and even became a successful author and speaker. It's proof that when you invest in your physical health, it can have ripple effects throughout your entire life.
That's inspiring. Does Howes go beyond just the basics of diet and exercise?
He does. He also brings in insights from Dr. Daniel Amen,
Okay.
who's a brain health expert,
Okay.
who emphasizes the connection between brain function and overall well-being.
Oh, that's fascinating. I'm guessing he's not just talking about crossword puzzles.
Not quite. Dr. Ammon argues that when your brain is healthy, you're better equipped to handle stress, make good decisions, and achieve your goals. He emphasizes the importance of nourishing your brain with healthy food,
Right.
but also with activities that challenge and stimulate it.
So it's about finding that balance between pushing yourself mentally and giving your brain the rest and support it needs to function optimally.
Exactly. And he also shares a story about Amir Rosic, who's an entrepreneur who discovered the power of prioritizing sleep.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. It's so easy to sacrifice sleep when we're feeling overwhelmed or driven.
Rosic was definitely burning the candle at both ends, but he realized that his lack of sleep was actually hindering his productivity and creativity.
Okay.
When he started getting enough sleep, everything changed.
Wow.
He had more energy, focus, and mental clarity.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is rest and recharge.
Absolutely. And to wrap up this section on physical health, Howes outlines his own fitness lifestyle plan.
Okay.
He emphasizes finding activities you love, starting small, finding an accountability partner, and making it a sustainable part of your routine.
Okay.
He also introduces a framework called MISSING, developed by Aubrey Marcus, to help you identify areas for improvement.
Okay, I'm curious, what does MISSING stand for?
It stands for movement indulgence, stress, sleep inhalation, nutrient density, and gut health.
Wow, that's comprehensive. It looks at all the different elements that contribute to a healthy body and mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about taking a holistic approach to well-being, recognizing that all these pieces are interconnected.
Okay, so we've covered vision, adversity, hustle, and physical health. What's the next layer in this journey toward greatness?
The power of positive habits. The power of positive habits.
Habits. Those small, consistent actions that can have a huge impact over time.
Exactly.
I'm guessing Howes is a big believer in the power of habits.
Absolutely. He argues that habits are the building blocks of success.
Okay.
And he shares a cautionary tale about a former teammate, Graham Holmberg, who had incredible athletic talent, but was ultimately held back by his bad habits.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind of habits was he talking about?
Holmberg was the classic case of wasted potential.
Okay.
He partied too much, didn't take his training seriously, and basically let his bad habits dictate his life.
So it's a reminder that even if you have natural talent, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You have to cultivate the discipline and consistency that comes with good habits.
Exactly. And on the flip side, Howes brings up Admiral McRaven's famous commencement speech about the importance of making your bed.
I've heard about that. It sounds so simple, but there's something powerful about that idea.
Right. Absolutely. McRaven argues that making your bed first thing in the morning sets the tone for the entire day.
Okay.
It's a small act of discipline that can have ripple effects throughout your life.
So it's about starting your day with intention, creating a sense of order and accomplishment.
Yeah.
Even if it's just with something as simple as making your bed.
Exactly. And Howes goes on to list a whole range of positive habits that successful people practice. Things like gratitude, visualization, meditation, reading, acknowledging others. Those small, consistent actions that can really add up over time.
He even has a specific exercise called the attitude of gratitude, right?
Yes. He challenges you to spend 2 weeks writing down 3 things you're grateful for every morning and night. It's a way to train your brain to focus on the positive. To appreciate the good things in your life, even amidst challenges.
That's a great practice. I'm definitely going to try that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got vision, adversity, hustle, physical health, and positive habits.
Right.
Are we missing anything on this journey toward greatness?
We are. There's one more key piece that Howes emphasizes, and it's a big one. He says you can't truly achieve greatness alone. You need a winning team.
That makes sense. Even with all the vision, hustle, and good habits in the world, you're going to hit roadblocks. You need support.
Yeah.
You want to share the journey with others.
Exactly. And Howes kicks off this chapter with a story about Scooter Braun, the talent manager who discovered Justin Bieber.
That's a name everyone knows.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's more to this story than just having a good eye for talent.
There is. Howes points out that Scooter's success wasn't just about finding Justin Bieber. It was about building a whole team of people who could support and nurture that talent. Publicists, lawyers, agents, creative collaborators, the whole works.
So it's about understanding that even if you're the one with the initial vision, you need other people's expertise and support to really make it happen.
And Howes goes beyond just assembling a team.
Okay.
He also talks about the importance of delegation, empowering others to do what they do best, and having really clear communication within the team.
Clear communication is so key, especially when you've got a lot of people working together.
Yeah.
What are some of the tips Howes gives for that?
He's a big advocate for what he calls clearing conversations.
Okay.
Basically addressing misunderstandings or conflicts directly so they don't fester and undermine the team's effectiveness.
So being proactive about addressing issues
Yeah.
rather than letting them build up resentment. That makes a lot of sense.
Right, and to help you figure out where you stand with your own relationships, Howes has an exercise called Take Inventory of Your Relationships.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What does that involve?
It's pretty simple but powerful.
Okay.
You make a list of the people in your life and identify who's genuinely supporting your vision
Okay.
and who might be holding you back intentionally or not. And then based on that, he encourages having those clearing conversations to address any misalignments.
So it's about being honest with yourself about who's truly on your team
Yeah.
and then having the courage to have those tough conversations to get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. And on the topic of teamwork,
Yeah.
Howes also highlights the benefits of mastermind groups.
Those are groups of like-minded people who come together to support and challenge each other. Right.
That's it. Howes says masterminds can be incredible for growth and accountability.
Okay.
You have a built-in group of people who are invested in your success and who can offer fresh perspectives and resources.
I love that. And didn't he also mention something about 3 lists to freedom?
He did. That's a tool he got from Chris Stecker.
Okay.
And it's all about identifying tasks you can delegate or outsource.
Okay.
The 3 lists are things you hate doing, things you can't do,
Okay.
and things you shouldn't do.
What a brilliant way to free up your time and energy.
Right.
It forces you to think about what you're really good at,
Yeah.
what you absolutely need to do yourself, and what can be handed off to someone else.
I agree. It's a game changer for productivity and focus.
And just to round things out on this team building theme, Howes also touches on something called the personality matrix,
Right.
a framework for understanding different personality styles.
That's a valuable tool, especially for anyone working in teams.
Yeah.
It helps you recognize and appreciate different approaches, which can minimize conflict and maximize collaboration.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. We've talked about vision, adversity, hustle, physical health, positive habits, and building a winning team.
We have.
That's a pretty comprehensive roadmap to greatness.
It is. And Howes wraps things up
Okay.
by reminding us that achieving true greatness isn't just about personal success.
Okay.
It's about using your talents and resources to make a positive impact on the world around you. He calls it being of service.
I love that it's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have ripple effects.
He shares a great story about Adam Braun,
Okay.
who left a successful career on Wall Street
Wow.
to found Pencils of Promise,
Good.
a nonprofit that builds schools for children in need.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a powerful example of someone aligning their actions with their values and making a real difference in the world.
Exactly. And Howes makes the point that being of service doesn't have to involve grand gestures.
Right.
It can start with small acts of kindness in your everyday life.
Yeah.
Holding the door for someone, offering a genuine compliment, volunteering your time.
Right.
It's about shifting your mindset from what can I get to what can I give.
I think that's a beautiful note to end on. We've explored so many insightful ideas
Yeah.
from these motivational excerpts and from Howes' book, The School of Greatness. We've learned about the power of vision, the importance of resilience, the necessity of hustle, the foundational role of physical and mental well-being, the transformative power of habits, and the magic of building a winning team.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And as you go out into the world, we want you to consider this. What does greatness mean to you?
That's the question.
And what is one small step you can take today to start living into that vision?
That's all for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.